Now, while we mess around with Rwanda and get into enormous trouble because we try to do too much with too little, and because the process was mismanaged by a person who made enemies really out of the one of the few states that was poised and ready to help, which was Albania, uh, about half of the European states, 15 out of the 27 states in Europe, are planning equally to find some form of offshoring, outsourcing migration and asylum policy. These states, led by Denmark, are planning to send irregular migrants who have come to the country by migratory routes, often dangerous migratory routes, to will be sent to these other countries to be processed. Now, I understand that the plan would then be that if their processing is successful, they would then go on to make a life in a European country. If it's not successful, and this is where it becomes more interesting, they could be outsourced, or they could be sent off to a third country, or indeed make their life in the country that is processing them. And these countries, the countries which are interested in this idea, this makes it different to Rwanda. Rwanda is about punishing people who have come to Britain by an irregular route, which is in defiance of the 1951 Refugee Convention. The proposal being made by, to start with, by Italy, is that these applications will be partly outsourced to Albania, who will then conduct investigations and process the applications, then dealing with those people whose applications have been rejected. The countries which are interested in this plan are Denmark, Bulgaria, the Czech Republic, Estonia, Greece, Italy, Cyprus, Latvia, Lithuania, Malta, the Netherlands, Austria, Poland, Romania, and Finland. It's a huge number. It means that this issue is going to have to be dealt with in Europe, on mainland Europe. And bizarrely, Britain is going to be left out of the equation. Britain has been trying to deal with this, but the wrong people have been spearheading the proposals. So rather than seeing the outsourced country as a deterrent, these are seeing the outsourced country as a way to manage the numbers. It may be a deterrent as well, but it's about management, and it's about setting up a new pact, and it's nuanced. And I personally, I think it's a very interesting idea. And one of the problems, particularly with migration, and particularly with rejected asylum applications, is how difficult it is to return people to the original country that they came from. So much better to return them to an accepting third country. Now, whether that be Rwanda, Albania, Turkey, I think is a moot point. Now, that is a way forward. To punish people for the way that they came to the country means we really have to be changing the 1951 Refugee Convention. But to deal with sending people away once their application has been denied, that is interesting if there is a place to go to. And I think it's also interesting if there's a place for them to stay while their application is processed. Asylum applications peaked in 2015 and in Europe. And though they've not got to that level again, they are certainly on the rise. And it's important, Europe says, that all new measures must be implemented in full compliance with our international legal obligations, including the right of non-refoulement, as well as the UN Charter of Fundamental Rights. Exactly. So the UN is approaching the EU is approaching this from that standpoint. In contrast to Suella Braverman and Priti Patel, who were approaching this in terms of defying international obligations and human rights. I think that this is something that the Labour Party, if it's due to take control of our country at the next general election, must pay attention to and must send observers to these meetings to see what is best practice and whether or not we can participate in this, because this is the future.